I had a dream a couple weeks ago where I was in the dark driving around a warped version of this neighborhood that I live in. And everybody at the front of their houses, which were all the windows, doors, garages, or whatever, they were all closed. But at the front in the driveway, there was just groups of people, hordes of people that were wearing all black. And as we were driving through, me and my family, I get to a point to where I reached a specific house. And it's the only house in that entire neighborhood that had the garage door open. So we go through, and then we stop, and we're walking up the driveway. And at first I'm about to kind of like freak out. I'm like, what the fuck? Because there's a larger horde of people wearing all black in front of this driveway, except the garage door is open. So we walk, and they actually part ways for us. And then that's when like I kind of stopped getting scared. I was like, okay, this is whatever. So we're walking through, and there was this big sheet. There are people on the edges, but there was a big black sheet, and I don't know why, but I intuitively just went under it. And then I was kind of like, what the fuck? And then I looked to the right, and I see this girl that I know from high school, and I say her name out, and I'm like, is that you? And then she doesn't say anything. She doesn't really react. So I come out of the cover from that side, turn around, and there's this dude wearing all black. But he's the only different one, because he's wearing like black robes. He's not just wearing like black shirt, black pants, black shoes, black socks, whatever. He was wearing like a black formal robe. And when I turned around and was looking at him, and it was a dark-skinned man. I don't know if he was black or Indian, but he was a very dark-skinned man. He told me about the magnetic field. And he said 3 different things. And that's why I'm kind of mad, because when I had that dream, I only heard one thing, and I can't remember if he said organization or disorganization, but he said something relating to the magnetic field and gave me 3 specific instructions, and I fucking forgot. So that's why I've really been just trying to work on my dream recall, because like I said, clairvoyance is my strongest ability, so I should be able to pull this back up as a memory and actively take notes within that space. I gotta work on enunciating my words. But I don't really remember what this dream was today, because I got up too fast. I was walking my sister to the bus stop. I do that every day. But I woke up with the biggest fucking epiphany revelation that I've had in a while. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you this very simply. Extend the full length of your arm out. Keep like a thumbs up. Just extend the full length of your arm out. Like that. And you see with this 360 view from me to the full length of my arm, what did I just show you? That's your entire reality. Everything you've ever experienced, everything you've ever learned, every perception that you have comes within that field. And the 360 range of motion, range of vision. And you got the Freemasons, they only give you 33. I had a snippet from, I think, part of my podcast where I said, and that's where this like half-truth comes in the 4th dimension, this polarity, this duality, where we have to think everything is up and down. But that's what we're here for. We're here to distinguish these directions, because those directions were made in our head. And that's where the idea of flat earth comes from, where it's not, I live on a fucking pizza disc in space, and everything I'm looking at in terms of nature and the stars themselves are spherical. Is that you have a flat perspective of reality because you live in your head. All the experiences you have to take yourself out of body. See the 4th dimension again. You have to realize that all these experiences have only been understood because they all have been taken from your head. So I need you to realize that you're basically one big fucking eye, and everything outside of this field is peripheral vision. It's coming from your minds. Everything here is in a sense of projection. And then that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I touch this grass. It's physicality. I can feel it. Even though they show like with science that when you touch things, it's actually the interaction between the molecules of my hand and the molecules of the grass that's actually touching. It's not actually my hand touching the grass. So even like on a physical level, they show that like we're not physically interacting with this dimension the way we think we do, the way that we assume. If you need an answer and you're in a situation where you're really pressed, go like that. Just put your thumb out, extend it out. That shit will remind you that all the shit is coming from inside, the introspective self-consciousness. Everything else is a reflection of that. Even all the way down to just the way you see in colors and shit. You ever had those situations where, like, you swear you can see colors more vibrant than others, and then somebody will be like, that's orange. It's like, nigga, that's yellow. And they can argue up and down about it. It's because perception. There is no, even with like the most basic shit, like our colors, there's no objective grounding, because it's still based on the way you are genetically wired, which ultimately is dictated by your consciousness. It's not just the epigenetics of your ancestral line or the blood that you have. It's also the ability for you to activate your genes. God is 3 different parts. Creator is 3 different parts. The father aspect of God, and I'm not flicking you off, when we're talking about mudras, this is actually ether. So when someone says fuck you, they're actually saying disappear. But we have the father aspect of God, which is directive energy, masculinity, consciousness. And the problem is it's being overemphasized. So then you get patriarchy. I don't want to say white people, because it's really not white people. It's all from draconian shit. It's just they were the main culture to like take a hold of that, what they call loose energy or whatever. Because historically they were the main people just, and it's still not white people. If anything, you could say the Jews, but like, even so, you can't say every fucking Jew is like that, because like, I got Jews in my age, some that I'm aware of, and it's like, they don't know shit about reality. So like, you literally can't generalize anything. The only thing you can generalize is the questioning that your subconscious goes through to perceive reality. Then you have the mother aspect of God, which is just the energy itself. This is directive energy, masculine, but this is just the energy itself. The shit, the untapped potential. What people who feel like they're out of control in life, they call this shit chaos. But this is really where all the order is at, because you ain't going to be able to direct shit if you ain't got energy to tap into. But it ain't nothing to tap into. You're reactivating. You're waking up. You're turning on, whatever. It's something that's everywhere. So how the fuck is it chaos? Chaos, if you really think about it, is us trying to refigure the shit into other things that, for the most part, can be illusion. That's the chaos. Because we have to actively convince others about the ways we direct things. We have to go, this is that. That is this. But chaos, or the true order, the universe, the mother aspect of God, that shit don't gotta convince nothing. It's just there. It doesn't give 2 shits if you believe in it or not. It's just there. And this is what these fucking draconians hate. They hate the mother aspect of God. They hate all things feminine, because, and that's also why you see masculinity so overemphasized to the point to where with feminism and the SJW movement, more on the Hollywood side, not like the actual how people are affected, not the unconscious side. You see it to a point to where the feminine is being masculinized. I know that's not a word, but you get what I mean, right? That the feminine aspect of how society views its own genders, our own law of polarity physically here. It's like the female can't just be a fucking superior being on her own right. It has to be based on the credentials of male-based shit. So like in movies, like the woman can't just be like an independent badass character because it's good writing. It got to be because she got to constantly one-up the man, and the man has to be made to look like a female. So you see how like even like on a larger level, just draconian shit that's going on. It's no longer white people. It's no longer Jewish. It's no longer a couple niggas in the Caucasus Mountains, these fucking super seniors. Like literally just people who, they're too scared to go to the next level, but at the same time, they don't want to go back. They don't want to flunk. They invert things. They turn things inside out. To be aware, to wake up, to be conscious, to ascend these consciousness levels gradually throughout your life, what you have to do is just be aware of how the shit here is affecting you. That's it. Heart-centered consciousness is basically where this field is not only extended, but beyond this hand isn't fucking peripheral vision. It just is. But you gotta see that in levels. There isn't just everything is one. Then I'm gonna go back to like, well, I mean, some humans, you know, there's no point. I mean, why not just Why not just focus on specifically this dimension? You know, there's like, we're here for a reason, but most of us, you know, we're so pessimistic, we don't know what to do. It's like, nigga, we're multidimensional beings. What the fuck are you talking about? There's no cosmic rule that's saying we're bounded here in terms of knowledge and intellectual capability. You believe that shit. And that's what we're here for. We're supposed to be questioning every belief we grew up having, because it wasn't until at least 7, maybe a little bit older, where you could actually critically think. So before you were even able to use your true consciousness or directive energy, you were functioning off subconscious shit. You're functioning off the chaos that's actually the real order. And that's why I talk the way I do, because that comes from my family. That comes from the environment I grew up in. I am that I am. All I'm trying to get to is that this extension of your arm, that is the magnetic field. That entire 360 degree, that cocoon you just made, that insideness, that's your magnetic field. And that's what I was trying to be taught inside my dream, but I couldn't really recall that much. But still, I still gained the important information of it. And so, god damn, this shit is just crazy. And I think actually what kind of created a catalyst for this was that last night before I went to bed, I was like really trying to get an answer for something. I can't remember what. I wasn't too serious, but it's just, I know what to prioritize all my focus on, and that's reprogramming the subconscious mind and taking that fucking power back, end of the day. Because all of reality comes from what my subconscious mind is creating impressions for. So if there's some old bullshit that I experienced back when I was 5, and that's the reason why certain displeasures is happening now, then I need to get that shit checked out. And what I was realizing was just that you ain't gonna find your answers on an online search. Even with this channel, I can only just leave an etheric trail from the stuff I'm doing right now personally and see if that could connect some dots in your head. But I can't ever really give you a direct universal answer. And that was the chase that I was doing the entire time. I was trying to figure out, what's the universal way to do this? How can I get it to where I can sit in a room with people and then we just fucking travel dimensions together, like group astral projection, stuff like that. And these are things that, you know, nothing's new under the sun. So if I imagined it, it didn't come from me. That shit came from something else that had its own form. So that's probably possible. But right now, the powers and the cool shit that comes from us as being infinite beings, multidimensional beings, that shit can stay to the side, because I know that's a byproduct of me mastering my subconscious mind. So you ain't gonna be seeing me do no miracles and shit like that until I get that part understanded, overstanded, understanded, and then taught. So yeah, it's sun gaze hours. It's really nice. This is normally what I do in the morning. I just, after walking Mia to school, sun gaze, and then that's when I start my day. It's also the first video I made just straight up after waking up, but it was just, this was so important to me. The final thing I want to say is just that we got all these portals into the subconscious mind, which is where absolute reality truly is, because it's just pure perception waiting to be directed for your benefit, because this shit is you. You're not taking advantage of something that exists. And so you need to use the search engine of the soul, which is the subconscious mind. And the way I've been doing it, at least until I'm able to consciously control it, is dreaming. Like, what the fuck? We waste, not waste, but I mean, we have 8 hours of a day just idly being used. Like, think about that shit. We spend all these hours consciously in a rat race, right? Dealing with money and whatnot. Like, I'm about to move out of this house with my mom and my siblings in like a week, like next Friday or something like that. And it's been stressing my mom out and stuff. Like, I'm still keeping my head up, but my point is just that we do all this shit where we want to be control of everything here in the waking life, but then we got 8 hours, just a nice ass chunk of time to manifest shit, just chilling right there. You see how, like, you realize how much power we have that's just mostly dormant, and only one aspect of that I'm talking about is your fucking dreams. So that's one of the gateways to the subconscious. But yeah, that's all I had to speak on today. Thank you guys for watching. Peace to the Pantheon. and stay abrasional.
I raise my frequency, it matched the planet. You can't stand it, solar flare might cause your skin some damage. I can manage, NASA hit my phone, they tell me Houston has a problem. These Carolina niggas, we don't know how we gon' stop them. You ain't gonna stop us cause you know we keep that common sense. That shit is called our consciousness, we vibrate with that confidence. Chillin' on dimensions where I live, I got no providence. I'ma let that can spray, but you know that I ain't caustic, bitch. I do that alchemy, but let that bass lift heavy metal. These girls be shaking ass, I'll let it pass, but they ain't special. Then I fucking smash and hit the dash, feel like a rebel. I ain't chasing bezels, but I lost my stamina from all this lustin'. Can't relate to niggas who start jugging. I used to steal, but that was no discussion. Who say you a man just cause you up huffin' and puffin'? Who say you can't speak that conscious shit and have it bumpin'? Fuck all the negativity, I clear all the energy like in no Russian. Sometimes I sip on the Hennessy, but I can still keep a thoughtful discussion. I want a girl that can balance me when I see fallacy, so there's no fuss then. Connected to heart and I feel like a supercomputer. Focus my chakras lately, I've been in a Shippuden. See the way I fucking left off the ground and these niggas gon' think I'm a Buddhist. Move with a thought that is faster than sound on a plane where my body can't move quick. Most of you talk about hoods, but I spend all my time in the woods. Embody my energy good cause I hate to be misunderstood. Deadwood, what's good? Deadwood, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Raise my frequency, it matched the planet, I raise my frequency, it matched the planet, I raise my frequency, it matched the planet, I raise my frequency, it matched the planet. I raise my frequency, it matched the planet, you can't stand it, solar flare might cause your skin some damage, I can manage, NASA hit my phone, they tell me Houston has a problem. These Carolina niggas, we don't know how we gon' stop them. You ain't gonna stop us cause you know we keep that common sense. That shit is called our consciousness, we vibrate with that confidence. Chillin' on dimensions where I live, I got no providence. I'ma let that can spray, but you know that I ain't caustic, bitch.